All right, everyone, welcome back to Trunk Talk. My name is Charlotte.
And I'm Gabi.
And today, what are we sitting in the back of?
We're sitting in the back of one of my favorite vehicles. This is the Kia Sorento turbocharged, but we got a burgundy interior in this one, which is something we had production for I think 2 years. So a little bit of a rarity, if you will.
Yeah, that we get to see coming back again. Now, this is an SUV,
yes,
right?
Yes, it's an all-wheel drive 3-row SUV.
And
it's a big one.
Are we talking about SUVs today?
Well, we're talking about big machines, and SUVs seem to fit that bill, I would say.
Definitely. So today we are going in depth on, do you really need to buy a bigger SUV? Do you really need to buy an SUV?
And the answer is...
it depends!
Keep listening. So, if you guys have been watching or listening for a while, you know, obviously we showcase Kia and Hyundai product, and a large sum of our lineup is actually the SUV market. So
definitely.
I mean, we've got big 3-rows like the Palisade and the Telluride. We've also got smaller things like the Seltos and the Kona, but SUVs take up a majority of our lineup. Is that right?
Yeah.
And they're what people want, which is rightfully so.
Now, that is specifically taking a look at North America. In North America, we've got tons of space. Everything is pretty spread out, and a lot of people seem to be drawn towards the big SUV vehicles. Now, I know that is not the case for a majority of places in the rest of the world, but that's a little bit about what we're sharing here, because that is basically like what Gabby said, that's what our market is like.
Yes, yeah, everyone wants an SUV, and it needs to be all-wheel drive. If it's not any of those things, they don't want it.
So why are SUVs so popular though?
Well, there's a couple different reasons. So one of the reasons, I was a sales consultant here for a while, and a lot of people tend to go towards SUVs, I was supposed to say EVs, because number one, space. So obviously SUVs are going to be a little bit more spacious. It is a sport utility vehicle, so you got that cargo space, you got a little extra legroom for your passengers, just more vehicle around you. They're also typically a little bit higher too, which I don't know what it is, but having a higher vehicle typically gives the, I want to say the illusion, obviously some of them are obviously safer, but it gives that illusion of more control over what's happening, more visibility. That may be the case for you, it may not. You could also probably just adjust your seat position a little bit.
Just crank her up.
A lot of people like the feeling of being higher up on the road. That's totally okay. That's whatever you want, it's your money. What else, Charlotte?
Some other reasons why people tend to like SUVs is, again, like what you said, safety when it comes to crash ratings, etc. Also just the fact that it is bigger, a little bit more robust should there be a collision. I think a huge reason why people buy SUVs is because they're more expensive, and I think that's a sign of status.
Yes, absolutely.
And I don't know if that's a little bit taboo to mention, but I definitely think that, you know, brand names, vehicle names, they carry a lot of weight, specifically in North America. Like some of the most popular vehicles that we're seeing is, you know, lots of Range Rovers on the road, lots of bigger style vehicles that are all in that similar body type, not stipe, don't even know what that is.
Well, if you also think about it, there's a lot of SUVs, so huge SUVs that just, you think of a Cadillac Escalade and you think of someone's got money, someone's a rapper,
the connotation,
a rapper. Do you know what I mean? that is someone important. That's a VIP vehicle. In reality, I mean, it's a Suburban.
Yeah.
It's a Tahoe with fancier seats.
Now, again, with that being said, is like, at the end of the day, it's your money. Purchase a vehicle that you want. And if it is for those factors, that's okay, because again, it's your money. Drive what you want. Drive what is going to be fun for you. But what are some reasons in which you can properly assess which vehicle, whether it be a bigger SUV, whether it be, you know, a 2-row SUV, a 3-row SUV, is going to be the right one for your family? Because something I want to say, and again, I don't know if this is controversial, but I find when I'm listening to customers, when we get comments online, a lot of people are saying, hey, I want a car for this reason, and I only do this, you know, 2 times, 3 times a year. So a lot of people are buying the bigger 3-row SUVs or full size, whatever you want to call them, vans,
for something
SUVs.
that they never do. For
something that they only do a couple times a year. So something for an occasional
remind
purpose.
Me of pickup truck owners.
Oh my goodness.
More on that
later. Dang. Yeah, so for an example, and this is just a hypothetical situation, but it is something that has come up a couple times, is there's a family, they have 1 or 2 kids, and they want to purchase something that is, you know, a 7-8-seater SUV. Now, predominantly let's say their kids are out of car seats. And they want this because they do 1 road trip every couple of years, or because every year, you know, they've got in-laws coming into town and they want everyone to be able to drive together.
Their kids have the wildest birthday parties.
Their kids have
they need to drive.
And they're in the carpool lane.
Yes, absolutely.
But a lot of the times is, you know, you don't necessarily need to go up to something as big as the Telluride or the Palisade or something, or, you know, a Carnival, a minivan for that type of situation, in my opinion. And that's the key word, in my opinion. Because what you're doing is you're basically going up to a bigger vehicle that is going to cost more first to buy, so
Yeah.
this is going to add extra dollars to your payment. It's going to add extra maintenance costs because you're going to require more oil.
Yep.
It's going to be bigger fuel costs because again, bigger vehicle, bigger consumption for something that you're really only using for a couple times of the year. So
at what point is it worth it?
and that's exactly it. Is at what point do you consider the occasionals over the true everyday use, and at what point do you think would it be better to rent a car or get, you know, a taxi or
What a
Uber
concept.
or something like that for those occasional times?
Yep.
So anyways, this is just something I've been thinking about, so I figured I would bring it to the table for you guys to
Yeah.
see kind of what you think. But
Absolutely. No, I think those are all valid points. And again, there's obviously different circumstances. There's some people that have more kids, or maybe they're doing sports and they're constantly carrying stuff around with them and they need the space. That is totally not exactly what we're talking about right now. But again, it also comes down to how you want to spend your money. If you want a big baller vehicle, get that
Go
baller
for it.
vehicle. Just be warned. The fuel consumption, the maintenance, the
You're also
acquisition
paying
costs.
for it.
Yeah, you have to pay for it. That's the other thing. You gotta pay for the lifestyle, you guys.
Now, I say all this, and meanwhile, I'm a complete and total hypocrite because I have one kid. She's in a car seat. She's not doing any sports or anything like that. I do have a stroller with me all the time, and I'm like, man, I gotta get me a Telluride.
Oh, girl.
I don't drive a Telluride. I drive a Sorento right now, but even then, I did kind of buy into the idea that I should go up into something bigger. I was previously in a Sportage, and now I'm in a Sorento, which is bigger. It is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It's a 6-seater, mine is. I had to think about that for a minute. But again, another one of the reasons I did change was the powertrain. I love the powertrain in the Sorento, but again, you can kind of buy into that idea that you need something bigger the second your lifestyle changes.
Absolutely.
So something that you should consider if you are purchasing a new vehicle and you are, you know, intending to keep it for a while, the average Canadians keep their vehicles for about 7 to 8 years, is think of, you know, what are some goals for your life in the future and how would you like it to look? You know, are you planning on expanding your family in the future? Because if so, maybe you should consider doing something now. That way you don't feel the pressure to change. Of course, in the future, things will be at a higher price point, everything along those lines. So those are just, again, some considerations. What does your commute look like? What does your home look like? You know, all those types of things when it comes to the financial aspect is something I would definitely want to consider.
Absolutely.
Also, environmental impact.
Yes. Well, I mean, it's a little tricky now because we do have vehicles like the Kia EV9, which is a 3-row all-electric, so obviously there's no tailpipe emissions there. But that doesn't mean it's cheap. I mean, that car's the highest trim is about $80,000, so that is not a cheap vehicle by any means. But then again, we're talking about Cadillacs, we're talking about Range Rovers, and those cars are expensive too. So, I mean, it comes down to your lifestyle. Now, obviously, a fully electric SUV is going to cut out all fuel costs. You're just going to be paying for your charging and whatnot. But does it make sense? Would a smaller SUV that is also an EV fit your needs? Because there's also the Kia EV6, there's going to be the EV5, there's going to be so many future EVs. Do you really need to get the truck of EV?
Yeah.
Just to, I don't know. I mean, it looks good, but I think maybe you got a lot of money. Why not?
If you're balling, do it.
That's just not me. So I just think sometimes why, but it is.
I guess it's a good thing it's not our money.
Yes, exactly.
So what would you say are some alternatives to buying something that is bigger?
Something that is smaller.
Oh, okay. Thank you everyone so much for joining us today.
Have you considered not getting a vehicle that big? Another thing I'd like to add. The way vehicles have become bloated over the last few, I don't want to say few years because it's been actually a long time coming. Cars today are massive, they're ginormous. Even just a regular compact, or maybe I should say mid-size SUV is humongous compared to vehicles, 20 years ago. Yeah. Obviously, they are safer and there's quite the tech advancements.
Yes, there are reasons for that, but you do tangibly see the difference.
Absolutely.
It's hard to ignore.
Absolutely. Also, driving skill. I want to say, driving a Suburban, driving a Tahoe, you should get a school bus license. Those vehicles are huge, and quite often I see people with horrible parking jobs driving them like they're off-road vehicles in school parking lots. They're just, I mean, you gotta be able to handle the car, right?
Definitely. Yeah. And so I think that if you are gonna go something that big road, just be equipped and be adaptable to learning how to drive it and to do it and really how to park it, I guess.
Yes, absolutely.
But yeah, alternatives to buying something bigger is some of them I've already kind of mentioned too, is maybe looking into, if you do have those occasional occurrences, renting something, borrowing something.
That's what you meant by that.
Well, yeah, I liked where you were going with that though. I think those are all
Just
valid
get a smaller
points.
car, you guys.
I was like, wow, yeah, that is, that's the right answer, I guess. But those would probably be some, you know, adjustments that I would do, and I would put that, you know, maybe put that money that would be going into a car payment, a bigger car payment, into something like that for, you know, a vacation
fund,
or spending time with family or whatever it may be. And
moving fund.
again, like I say all this and then I can be completely hypocritical on it.
But you work at a dealership, so you can like,
so I can try.
You can sample the cars.
I can sample for a little bit of time.
To be honest, though, we're all a little bit of hypocrites while we work at a dealership because, again, we get to sample the cars. So we get sports cars. We get sports cars come in. We get big rigs come in. We get SUVs come in. And I remember this was like 2 years ago. I was working sales. There was a Cadillac Escalade here. Oh, it was brand new, 3,000 kilometers, beautiful, gorgeous. An older couple traded in. I drove that home for a week and I loved it. I felt like such a baller. It was exactly a hot ride, massaging seats. Are you kidding me? But you look back at all those empty seats behind you and you're like, wow, life is pretty lonely. The school bus. No, seriously, it was a big machine, beautiful, beautiful car. I get the hype, but I just don't understand how you can justify that unless you actually have a fleet of children that you have to drive around, or you're constantly entertaining, or maybe you're a luxury driver. You could be, you know, an airport transit driver and want to have something nice.
You drive a sedan, right?
Yes, yeah.
Why do you pick a sedan?
Well, Charlotte,
I
was on a budget. I picked my Kia Forte because it's good on gas, it's got great features, and it suits my lifestyle. I mean, I don't have kids that I have to drive around. I don't have like equipment or anything. Like, I don't play any sports where I would need something larger.
Yeah.
I also don't think all-wheel drive is absolutely necessary.
And if you want to know why, listen to our first podcast.
Our first podcast ever, yeah. So my front-wheel drive compact sedan works great for me, and I wouldn't change it.
Yeah.
Unless I could swing for a sports car. But
I think what you said though about the fact that we work in a dealership, I think you know, take everything that we say obviously with a grain of salt, because at the end of the day, do what you believe is best for you, your lifestyle, your family, whatever your situation is, your budget. We kind of just have the awesome opportunity to be able to sample so many different things, and this is kind of what we're learning and thinking about as we get to do that, and it's really fun and interesting getting to share it with you guys. But I think if I had to recap what we were talking about, is evaluate your daily life more so than the occasionals in your life.
I would also say don't buy a vehicle just based off aesthetics and what other people are doing. It's very easy, especially seeing on social media, seeing influencers get into these huge SUVs,
my goodness,
picking up their brand new, I don't know, Mercedes G-Wagon. Believe me, it's not, you don't need that. You don't need that. But
if you want it, go for it. You don't need it though.
But yeah, it's not something that you need.
Yeah.
You could do that in a Tucson.
So don't, you could do that in a Tucson. So yeah, just to summarize, don't necessarily commit yourself to the bigger maintenance costs, payment costs, fuel costs, you know, unless it really is something that makes sense for your life, for your budget.
Be all in.
Be all in, or not at all. No, just kidding. I don't know how to end that.
That's okay. I think that's good.
Sure.
We can end it just like this. Thanks for listening, you guys. See you
Bye.
next time. Bye.